everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I am back with another video, and this time we're going to be doing a set of clear jelly nails. So as you can see, we've already prepped the nail, we've applied the tips, we've shaped them, so we're just going to go ahead and get started with the acrylic application. So as you see there, the first bead that I applied was right in the middle where the natural nail and the tip meet. We brushed that down towards the tip very gently, just spreading all of the acrylic over the entire nail. The next bead was right below that one, brushing it down towards the tip, making sure that we get a nice thickness at the tip. The third bead is closer to the cuticle area. As you can see, I don't place it right on the cuticle. I place it right below, and then I pat it down, making it spread out like to where it's touching the cuticle almost, and then blending it down towards the tip. And make sure that when you're brushing super gently. That way you don't remove a lot of the acrylic off the nail. And if you're having problems with your acrylic being lumpy, you might want to consider, practicing your powder to liquid ratio to make sure that you're not working with acrylic that's either too wet or too dry. And then also another thing could be your brush. Maybe your brush is dirty, which means that the acrylic is going to continue to build up in your brush, and it's going to make your acrylic go on there bumpy or lumpy. So make sure that you wipe your brush off a lot when you're working. So again, we place that bead right in the middle where the natural nail and the tip meet. The second one, we apply it right below that one. The third one closer to the cuticle area, and then the fourth one is just to build our apex. So as you can see, for the most part, I always do the 4-ball method, which is what I just mentioned, and it works really good for me. It helps me to control my product because I'm not just using a lot at once. I know there's people out there that like to do the 1-ball method, but it never really just worked for me. So now I just stick to this 4-ball method, and I think it's really just a good way for people that are just starting to do nails to have kind of like a guide as to where to apply the acrylic instead of just applying it everywhere or anywhere on the nail. Another thing that I like to mention is that when you're doing this, it's really important to look at the nail from different angles, whether it's the top or the sides, just to make sure that for one, you have a good thickness at the tip as well as a nice apex, which your apex is right in the middle of the nail closer to the cuticle area, and that part of your nail has to be thicker than the rest of the nail, because if you hit your nail on something, that's where the nail gets its strength, and if it's super flat, then most likely your nail is going to break off really easily. So that's one thing that you have to take into consideration. And then another thing is just not getting the product on the skin, and if you do, just quickly wipe it off before it dries, because if not, most likely you will get lifting. So again, we grab our bead, place it right in the middle where the natural nail and the tip meet. We pat it down, and then we brush it down towards the tip, making sure that it's nice and even, as well as wiping the sides to make sure that the acrylic does not take away from our shape. Next, we're going to place the second bead, which is right below that first one. Again, patting it down and brushing it down towards the tip. And then it's really important to wipe the sides, because it's going to keep you from having to do a lot of filing at the end. And it just basically pushes the acrylic back up if it starts to run off the nail. The third bead is closer to the cuticle area. As you can see, I just pat it down to where it moves really close to the cuticle, and then I start brushing it down towards the tip. That way it all just blends together, and wiping around that cuticle area to make sure that there's no product on the cuticle, because if not, you will get lifting. And as you can see, every time that you see me like lift her finger up, that's me looking at the nail from the sides to see where I need to add more acrylic. Of course, that fourth one, we applied it right at the top of the nail closer to the cuticle area, and that's what's going to give us a nice apex to make sure that the nail is not going to break off easily. So this is the acrylic that I used, which was the Mia Secret Clear, and this is what the nails look like before any filing. I'm going to give you a closer look as well. Again, this is before any filing was done. Next, we're going to go ahead and reshape the nails. This is a step that you do not want to skip. Again, even after wiping the nails off on the sides with your brush while applying the acrylic, you're still going to get some rough edges and your corners might be a little bit rounded after applying the acrylic. So you just want to go in and just reshape the nails. So same thing as when you first shape them, you do a 45-degree angle on the sides and 90-degree angle at the free edge to make sure that you get that perfect coffin shape that you want. So once we're done reshaping the nails, I'm going to go ahead and go in with my e-file. And we're just going to start around the cuticle area, going from the right side over to the left side. Just going back and forth until you're able to see where the cuticle is, where the natural nail is, and where the acrylic is. That way you know that the acrylic is not on the skin. And then also just following the rest of the nail to make sure that it's all nice and smooth. And as I always say, that if you are a beginner, you might have a little bit more filing to do due to not being able to apply your acrylic as evenly or without it being bumpy or lumpy. So you're just going to have to spend a little bit more time with this. And then all of this can be done with just a hand file. So you don't necessarily have to have an e-file. But it does help a lot as far as like speed and just being able to get really close to that cuticle area. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing to all of the nails. Again, starting around the cuticle area. As you can see there, you're able to see where the natural nail is. Like when I say that, I don't mean there has to be like a huge gap. Literally just like a really fine, probably as fine as a hair. That's how big the little gap has to be, just as long as you can see where the natural nail is all around the cuticle area. That way you know that the acrylic is nice and sealed, because if there's any little gap in between that natural nail and the acrylic, water, moisture, just anything that gets underneath the nail is going to cause the nail to live. So you have to be very careful and pay attention to what you're doing. So next we're going to go in and just buff the nails, and this is just to get rid of any of the scratches left on our nail from the e-file or the hand file. And after you file or buff each hand, you want to make sure you rub on the top of the nail just to make sure that it's all nice and smooth, because if there's still any scratch on that nail, you will be able to see that scratch through your polish. So make sure that you check, and then if it's still a little bit rough, then of course just go back and buff a little bit more. But after this, we're just going to dust the nails off. You can either have your client go wash their hands, or you can just wipe them off with an alcohol wipe or whatever works for you best. Alrighty, so here's just a short little clip of what the nails look like once we finish everything. So as you can see, they're not too thick or too thin. They have a nice pretty apex, and yeah, they look pretty good. So we're gonna get started with the polish application. So I'm gonna be using these jelly polishes by Makartt. I'm using a pink, a purple, a green, a yellow, and a blue, I believe. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. So we're only gonna be doing the polish on the tips, and one thing I do want to mention is that if you're using the jelly polishes, they're made to be used over clear nails. So if you have the natural tips on, they're not gonna give you that jelly like glass effect. So we're on the last nail, and again, once we're done applying the polish on the tips, I'm going to go ahead and just use my Alpha brush, which is a French brush, and a number 6 just to clean up that smile line. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and cure the nails for 30 seconds, and I'm going to be using my Abadi UV LED lamp, and I'll be sure to leave the link in the description to the lamp. Alrighty, so next we're going to go ahead and do a second coat of each polish. Again, the purple, the blue, the pink, and that green are by Makartt, and then the yellow one is by Jovamia, and this one is actually part of the Illuminix collection. As you guys know, not too long ago I did a pink set, which was like the chrome look, and the yellow polish is actually part of that, but I'm just using it as a jelly polish because technically that's what it is. But again, this is just a second coat. We're going to go ahead and cure this hand for another 30 seconds, and then we're going to apply the second coat on the other hand as well, and then curing that for 30 seconds, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so now we're going to go in and apply some bling. So I'm just going to be using my AB SS6 and SS12 rhinestones. I apply an SS12 right in the middle, and then I'm going to just do the SS6 around it, just around the smile line, basically just outlining the smile line. And we're going to do that on all of the nails. And as you guys know, for this, I use my Mia Secret gel resin, and I'm using my wax pencil to pick up the bling. But again, we're just outlining the smile line with the bling. So I sprayed those nails with the activator, and I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on this other hand. Again, we're doing an SS12 right in the middle, and then outlining the smile line with the SS6 and 12, whatever I'm doing. The 6 and 12, which is the bigger ones, and the smaller ones, I applied the Mia Secret gel resin across the smile line, and then pick up the bling with the wax pencil and just place them on the nail. Really nice and simple. And then at the end, we're going to spray the activator, which is just a spray that helps that glue dry a lot faster because it is thicker. Since it's a gel resin, it's a thicker consistency, which means that it's going to take a bit longer to dry. So with the activator, I honestly feel like for one, it makes it dry faster, and then for two, I honestly feel like it helps the bling stay on a lot longer. So I do recommend it, and I just get mine from Amazon, but I believe they do have it on eBay and other stores online. Alrighty, so I just sprayed the nails with the activator, and then now I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I don't think I've ever done this on a video because I think I've only done it one other time. But we're going to be using some nail piercings, and I'm just using my little piercing tool. I don't even know what it's called, but it's basically like a little screwdriver, and you literally just place it wherever you want the hole. You turn the little screwdriver back and forth until you're able to make the hole. It's not hard at all. You literally, again, just place the little screwdriver wherever you want the hole, just turn it back and forth, and then that's it. So then we're gonna go ahead and make another hole right below that one, just going back and forth, twisting back and forth, and then let the little screwdriver go all the way down, and I'm just gonna wipe it off. Gonna go ahead and make sure that our hole is nice and open. And after that, the little piercings, you just have to basically open them up, that way they go through the hole. And then the bead actually fell out of this one, but I'm gonna go ahead and put it back in. So I'm just using a pair of nippers to hold the piercing, or you can use a pair of twisters, whatever is easier for you. I went ahead and put the bead back in there, and then you just have to close it back up. And it's literally like an actual piercing. You have to make the hole, you put the piercing through, and then you close it, and that's pretty much it. So it's really nice and simple, and they're really cute. So again, this is something that I haven't done on a video before, so I hope you guys enjoy. Alrighty, so once the piercings are on, I'm going to go ahead and just wipe that nail off to get any of that dust off. And then I'm going to go ahead and just apply the IBD gel top coat. I am applying it around the bling as well as the little piercings. And then we're just going to cure this hand for 60 seconds. Alrighty, so we're going to let this hand cure and we're going to do the same thing on this hand. So I went ahead and wiped it off to get the sticky layer off. And then I'm going to go ahead and drill the little holes in there. So again, just place the little screwdriver wherever you want the hole. Just go back and forth, twist them back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until you make the hole. Make sure that the little drill screwdriver goes all the way through, and then just wipe it off to remove the dust, and then just go ahead and do the other hole right below that one. And again, it's really easy. I'm good. Like, these little piercings are super old. I actually had to dig for them because I couldn't remember where they were, but it came with the little screwdriver as well as a whole bunch of the little piercings. So I'm gonna try to find the link to it. I believe I got it off of Amazon, but I'm not very sure. But again, once you have the holes done, you just open up the piercings. As you can see, I switched over to using a pair of tweezers, and then I'm just putting the piercing through the hole, and that's pretty much it. And again, just closing the little piercing. Alrighty, so we're just finishing the top coat on this hand, and here is the final look. As you can see, they look really pretty. The colors are nice and bright, and that bling and the piercings just went perfect with the set. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at GetNailed32, and I'll see you guys next time.